Hi, it's Jo here from Minerva. Today I'm going to show you how to make some pin tucks. Pin tucks are a really small pleat used as a decorative finish on tops, sleeves, mostly around necklines and shirts. But if you can learn a few tips to do them, you can get them really accurate. All the products that I've used are listed below, so you can make sure that you get the right products to get the perfect pin tucks. The fabric I'm using today is a Liberty cotton lawn. It's got a really smooth finish. It's a very lightweight fabric, but it is a cotton. It has a little berry pattern on it. It's suitable for summer shirts, summer tops, pyjamas, which is what I'm making today, PJ tops and bottoms. You can gather it, and it will hold a gather quite nicely and still drape down even though it's a cotton. And it's a real luxury item, but it's important if you're going to buy some Liberty cotton lawn that you make sure you trial your item first so that you know you'll get the very best out of your fabric. From this fabric today, I'm going to make a pair of summer pyjamas. I'm not using a specific pattern, but I've linked some patterns below, which if you don't have a pyjama pattern yet would be really great in this fabric. For those of you learning about fabrics, I always like to describe what I'm wearing. So this is a viscose challis with a geometric print on. It's really good for making summer tops and things that have a drape. And although this top is really simple with a little collar on, the drape part comes with the tie at the back. So the tie is not sticking out. It just hangs really nicely at the back, and that's what viscose gives, that element of drape to a fabric. The trickiest bit about making pin tucks is to put all of these markings onto your fabric. I mean, you can get a ruler and an erasable pen and you can mark them all, keep measuring, measuring, but it's so tricky because once you're drawing on the fabric, you'll move the fabric a little bit. So your best option is to buy some dressmaker's carbon paper. And it's not expensive, and you might not know what it is when you see it on the stock list on Minerva, but it's absolutely worth its weight in gold. It's like sticky on this side, carbon, and that's like a chalky finish that will come on your fabric. And it comes in a big sheet, so you could trace whole pattern pieces, or you can cut it into smaller pieces like this and use them individually. Once you've got your carbon paper underneath, you can then mark on the lines, and you will get all of your markings exactly as they were on the pattern. And you can see it there, all of those lines all carefully drawn on so that all your pin tucks can be ready to sew. It's best to use glass head pins so that you can use your iron with your pin tucks, and you're going to bring together the two marks on each side all the way down the pin tuck. You can check that on the reverse, and then take it over to the machine and sew. You need to use the guide on your foot to help you get a really straight line. My machine has a 70 sewing machine needle on because this Liberty lawn is quite fine, so I want it to not pucker my pin tucks. I want it to really go through the material sharply. Each pin tuck is a centimetre wide when it's open, So my sewing needs to be 1/2 centimetre from the centre of the pin tuck. You might be able to see, if you use the carbon paper, you might be able to see the yellow line through, but I'm just going to make sure, using my foot, where I'm going to line it up and what I'm going to use as my line. Okay, and then you can start sewing. So something I've learned is to make my pin tucks one at a time. So I've made one there and I've pressed it, pointing out towards the sleeve. And now I'm ready to make the next one. It's better than pinning them all and having lots of pins all clattering around your foot plate on your machine. And you can be really accurate, because now you can make the next one, check the distance, and then you can make the next one, check the distance. So if you do need to unpick one, you're only one pin tuck away from putting it right. If you make them all and then you realise you've got one a bit small, it's very hard to make an adjustment. So this is what it looks like after you repeat the process of marking. Pin one, sew one, press it. Pin one, sew one, press it. Pin one, sew one, press it. And these have got 3 that fall to the one side and 3 that fall to the other side. So there's a slightly wider gap in the middle, but it works really well on cotton lawn because you get a nice crisp finish. You can't really do pin tucks on jersey, that doesn't get the same crispness. What you can do is you can have a different effect where you sew the pin tuck down part way and then you let the bottom spread out, and sometimes people use that to shape a neckline. So you'd have pin tucks to there, and then all of those would be left open, and that's how you'd get your bust room there. But then you would pull in at the neck here with these little pleats. Once you've finished your pin tucks and you come to the hemming part, it's important to make sure that you pin down your pin tucks here so that you don't get any of those tucks coming over the edge of the hem and then flipping the wrong way on the other side. So there's a little bit of care needed just when you're hemming across the end of pin tucks to make sure that they lie flat. The same on the neckline, you want to make sure that where you bind the neck, the pleats are facing in the direction that you press them and they don't flip over. If you have a favourite shell top, vest top or top that you like, you can add pin tucks and make a new front pattern piece. And I'm using New Look 6483 and I'm going to make View B have some pleats on the front. So I've traced off the front piece on some squared paper. This is comes in a pack. It's really useful, especially if you want to make an alteration to your pattern. And then you need to decide how many pin tucks you're going to have. I'm going to have 6 altogether, so I want 3 on one side of the fold line and 3 on the other side. I'm going to make each of my pin tucks 1/2 centimetre sticking out, so I need 1 centimetre to make the pin tuck. So I'm going to have a thick flat piece in the middle like I had on my pyjama top. So there's going to be like an open flat piece in the middle, and then I'm going to cut out 1 centimetre strips to make each pin tuck. So these are going to be my pin tucks, so you imagine that's folded in half as a pin tuck, so I'm losing 1 centimetre of my neckline, so I need to put that 1 centimetre back in. So I'm going to reconstruct my pattern. I've got some dark different coloured paper so that you'll see how it fits back together. So the pattern piece will be there, and then going to stick down all the pin tucks with a 1 centimetre gap in between, because the 1 centimetre gap will give me back the gap that I will have pinched out with the pin tuck. Once you've made the allowances for the fabric that you're going to lose, so you're going to lose that much and it will fold over, lose that much and it will fold over, you can then recut the pattern. But your maths might be different. It depends on how wide you're going to have between your pleats, but that's the basic understanding of how to change your top and add pin tucks. What you're basically doing is making a gap to allow for the pin tuck to take place. So that's something you can experiment with, have a go at, try it on a piece of scrap fabric before you cut your real one to check that you've got the spacings right and you're not making the neckline any larger or you're making it any smaller. If you want the pin tucks that just go across the neckline and then open out at the bust or open out at the hip, it's the same process, but you'll obviously just sew down. You need to mark with some dots where you're going to sew to and then where you're going to get the opening out of the pin tuck. Thanks for watching. I hope that's given you a little bit of confidence in making a pin tuck or altering a pattern that you've got to add pin tucks. It might also help you choose a pattern from Minerva that has pin tucks in the design. So now you know that technique, you won't be frightened to choose it. Don't forget to share your makes on Minerva with us and engage with the sewing community. There's lots of inspiration out there. Have a look at the fabrics, look up this fabric. It's the Liberty Cotton Lawn, and you will see all the sorts of designs that people are making with it.